Hey, good morning. What's up, everyone? Hope you're doing well. It is Friday, and I'm still sick. I don't know how long this is going to go on, but it's the end of the month. It's the last day of the month here, February 28th, and what we got going on is a continuation of the unwind, right? And trying to position myself for the bottoming in the next few sessions, the way that I see it. Over the next week or so, I suspect that we're going to have some kind of a reversal that starts to creep into this market. But for the time being, everything is pointing to the downside, and I think a lot of people are having a lot of trouble trying to continuously buy this without too many. I don't have that many signals that are telling me to buy just yet. I'm waiting for reversals. I'm waiting for capitulation. The unwind is still pretty strong, especially in tech. That has been leading the way to the downside. Also, Bitcoin in the news. We dropped under 80,000 temporarily, losing more than 25% of its record high price since January 20th. The day the day of President Trump's inauguration and dramatic price correction. As looming tariffs drive safe haven demand, other cryptocurrencies have also been weighed by the prevailing global risk-off sentiment, and crypto-related stocks are expected to see some pressure. Bitcoin had been one of the most popular Trump trades given expectations of a friendlier regulatory environment under the new administration, but investors are now moving towards safer assets as Trump ramps up his tariff threats instead of serving an alternative to fiat instability, and its proponents have long claimed crypto once again has been treated like any other of the high-risk assets and selling off accordingly with the overall market. So if the risk-off sentiment continues, Bitcoin could lose all of its gains from the post-election rally, and outflows from crypto ETFs could further swell. Tuesday saw more than $1 billion pulled out of the spot Bitcoin ETF, the largest single-day cash exodus for the ETF since the debut in last January. And the crypto fear and greed index, which tracks trader sentiment, is in record extreme fear flash, and so is the market. Market sentiment is in extreme fear that's flashing right now, but we haven't necessarily seen too much of capitulation. This is a classic seasonal pullback. We're seeing a lot of money being pulled out of tech, and I still do think that tech and big names are underweight, which are expected to see some kind of rally come through, but I think it's going to take a lot of washing out realistically. Crypto bulls are still very excuse me. They're very, I guess, optimistic. They're still looking for Bitcoin to exceed 200,000 this year for some kind of continuation of this move with a potential bounce. We could probably see 72,000, 70,000 on Bitcoin before those things change. Along with the equity market, the SPY is coming into territories that look pretty attractive for some of that buy-side momentum. I'm not necessarily looking at this as this is the bottoming right now, but I think we are very close. We haven't undercut those most recent lows. The NASDAQ has pretty much dropped 10%. We're not getting too many oversold signals just yet, but we are coming into an area around 580 on the SPY that looks pretty attractive for the reversal and that turning point. Ultimately, my ultimate downside goal is around 560. I don't really think that happens on this downward push, but it is a possibility. We had PCE data that came out this morning as well. The US PCE price index year over year came out 2.5 versus 2.5 expected. This is the Fed's favorite inflation gauge, so a slight little beat there compared to last month's reading. We had the US PCE price index a month over month 0.3 as expected. The U.S. core year over year 2.6 as expected. The prior was 2.8, so a slight little decrease. The Fed is going to be happy with this, with the slight little notches down on inflation, which helps them continue cutting rates. So we'll see how this kind of sets out. The U.S. consumer spending the month over month came out negative 0.2% compared to 0.2%. The U.S. personal income month over month 0.9 compared to 0.4% expected. So a little bundle of news this morning. But right now, there is the potential for a little reversal before we start to see that sell side continue. I'm not going super bullish on this, but we do have a failed acceptance under this 58.75 area on the overnight on the S&P 500. I think that area is pretty attractive to see if we can get a push into 59.10 and 59.25. Those two areas, I expect to see the sell side continue to get this push lower. Anything above 59.30, honestly, I feel like we can start turning things around, but I think that's going to be a big if. I still like sellers at higher prices right now. Anything under 58.75, I think if that loses that ground, we look for that sell side continuation and that pressure. I think we do start off with a little pump before those sellers get a little excited. It's been the classic over the last few weeks where we have a nice little pump to the upside, and then the sell side just comes in and starts whacking it. Continuation of very heavy selling has been going on throughout the day, especially the morning session. You've seen just a plethora of just constant selling with a very large size, especially on the NAS, the tech-heavy NAS. And it's just pulling me away from wanting to be a buyer, and I don't want to be a buyer at these current areas and this current movement. It's constant selling until we see some kind of major capitulation, which also involves a very stern reversal. That's when I start to look at this and think, okay, you know what, maybe we're going to start turning around. But right now, I think there is still more momentum to the downside. It's the last day of the month. It doesn't seem reasonable for big money to start buying into things right now on the final day of the month. If anything, continue the unwind to the downside. So with that being said, I hope everyone has a fantastic Friday, end of the day, end of the week, end of the month. And I'll see you guys next week. And ideally, my voice and my sickness is gone by then, so we can continue on with streams and whatnot. But I'm going to take it easy today, and we'll see you guys next week. Enjoy the weekend. Have a great weekend, and we'll chat very soon, everyone. And remember to check out community.trade.